really, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
That's why it's really important to have a plan. Have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this DJ?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is impermanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, to where you can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special guest episode of DGen Roundtable. We are excited to have you joining us live tonight. Thank you so much for your viewership. If you guys could, before we get started, make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you guys comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys share this across all your URLs. And if you guys haven't done so already, I mean, we say this every single episode. Make sure you guys joined our Telegram. Shout out to Agent J, man. Agent J, you've been on fire in that Telegram. It's been absolutely awesome. So all the content that we have putting out, especially with all the green candles today, all the green candles that we've had pretty much over the last couple days, it's been phenomenal. So we've had a lot of interactions going on in that community chat. So make sure before we get started, you guys hop in there. You can scan that Telegram link right there at right underneath Jay. Go into the description. You'll find the Telegram there. But with that being said, man, we got a special guest tonight. We are so thankful that he's able to hang out with us. We also got some great panelists in the house as well. Mr. Vets for Crypto, how are you doing, buddy?
My people, how are you? Good to see you. Good to be with you guys. An honor and a privilege, so thank you. Some familiar faces, and also starting to get to know some of the other guys as well, so it's a privilege, man. Good to be here. Really like the format, the layout you guys are doing. You're reaching, your numbers, your analytics obviously are increasing and growing, and it's only going to continue to grow as we keep marching on, right?
Absolutely, man. We also got Agent J in the house. Agent J, what you been up to, man?
I mean, from the last few hours that I sat down to stream in the Telegram, I was able to do some work. Unfortunately, we had a dust storm roll through here in usually sunny Arizona. And so instead of finishing up my projects, I was like, you know what? The guys are going to be on stream with a very special guest. So I figured I might as well jump in here. But yeah, man, like you said, I've been live streaming as much as I can, both here on YouTube and on the Telegram chat, because we were discussing this a few days ago with a Tracker and the rest of the team, and the consensus was the more information and the more value that we provide out there for the community, both within our Telegram and outside, obviously, the better the people that we interact with they're going to become, right? And so when everybody is standing on a very similar strong foundation, then you can lean into each other's talents, especially in the areas where you're lacking. So I think that's one of my primary goals. I try to arm people with as many tools as they possibly can, and I think it's been paying off, man. So
been crushing it, man. Zenith, fill us in, buddy. What you been up to?
What's going on, everybody? Super stoked to have Vets on the stream so we can put on a good show for all of our Puddle Pirates, Devil Dogs, 11 Bravos, and consumers of fine, colorful, waxed writing utensils all over the world. I am just hanging in there, doing what I do, and watching just these green candles blow people's minds. Like, this is, if you go back and watch our Q1 thesis show, you will remember that we were bullish. We were not this bullish. Like, Bitcoin is melting faces right now, and we are included in that puddle of face juice. So this is a wild ride. I've been saying it this whole year. 2024 is going to be a hell of a ride, and we're 2 months down, and it's this. So buckle up, folks.
Yeah, I know I'm one. I didn't think the sentiment would be what it is right now. I mean, it's just green candles stacked on green candle. It's awesome to see. Speaking of green candles, Will Stevenson in the house. How's everything going? You all ready for a book club coming up on Friday?
Yes, I am. I'm gonna be re-listening to the book a couple times. By the way, we're gonna be covering $100 million offers. I will be hosting it alongside Zenith will be joining me as my co-host, and then the usual suspects. We will be reviewing $100 million offers. So I'm gonna listen to a couple other people's reviews of the book. I think that's how I'm gonna get some different perspectives before I start throwing out questions to all the team and everything. But it's gonna be a good time. It's going to be a good time. And I see we got some cool folks in the chat. One gentleman, actually, I'll let you get to the chats whenever you get to that part of the show. But they were talking about the DRT token, which is the official unofficial DGen Roundtable. It has nothing to do with us, but it was created live on stream by our good friend Crypto Sloth. He helped us make it as a like part of a show to show our viewers and our audience how to create tokens using the GoPulse website. But anyways, apparently somebody has been pairing it up with a whole bunch of stuff, and that's been causing the price to do some interesting things. So that is very, very nifty and unique. It's a fun token. It's super, super crazy, super interesting. But I'm doing
It's
great.
super. Yeah, it's super fun, super interesting, and it was created as an example. So that's
An
the best
example
part
that
about the coin.
an example. You know what's interesting? So I did the math on it earlier, and it's done over a 10,000x from the bottoms to the top. So that's awful fun.
Hey, does that mean we have to add Crypto Sloth as into that special category? We might have to. All right, sounds good. Let's go ahead and touch some of the chats. We got Hexkin Lost in Asia. He was the first DJ in the house to leave a comment. What's going on, Hexkin? Glad to see you here, man. A fellow vet in the house. Glad to have you. We got Nate behind the scenes. Nate decided to take the night off. He's cutting loose, chilling, relaxing. So he's going to be on fire in the chat tonight. Nate, always great to see you in the chat. We got Russ in the house. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Sam from Brother 64. Can't wait to have him on next month. It's going to be absolutely awesome. But always good to see you, Sam. Glad to have you here. And last but not least, we have Mr. Angry Twinkie coming off of his live stream about an hour ago. Glad to see you here, dude. Definitely glad to see you here. All right, let's go ahead and hop into the conversation. Vets, you are our special guest. So for folks that may not know too much about you, maybe they're brand new to our channel, maybe they're brand new into the Pulse Chain ecosystem, or, for folks that are just browsing YouTube right now that they saw, oh, this is a live stream coming up right now. I don't know anything about this. Why don't you tell folks who you are, how you got started into crypto, and what you're planning on doing with the niche that you're filling right now? Because I think it's a phenomenal niche. Reaching out to vets, especially, that small subsect of investors and stuff like that. I think it's awesome. So if you could speak a little bit about who you are, how you got into crypto, what interests you, and what you want to do with the niche that you're filling right now.
Yeah, definitely. Honor and a privilege, gentlemen. Appreciate it. JR, vets in crypto. So we'll go back to the beginning. Go back to about 2017. A lot of people helped me. Like a lot of people in crypto in general have some type of background. Computer this, science that, programmer. I'm just like your average Joe. I'm that guy. So everything's been a struggle to learn, and I always use a little extra help and everything. And I appreciate everybody throughout the years that have taken the time to give this crayon eater an assist. So 2017, mining Ethereum, flashing GPUs and all that stuff, and then using like NiceHash for everything to get the rewards, and then then that led me into Coinbase to send that out of NiceHash into Coinbase, and so everything's just been like just different blocks, just learning experiences. Probably took some time off, here and there. And then probably not till 2019 or so is when I got into it, into 2020. Man, and that ultimately led me, into, coming across Richard Hart and hearing one or two of his streams. And then ultimately, though, who I give credit, and he never wants credit or anything, but I just who opened my eyes to the Hex ecosystem was the Hexologist. He's the one that did it for me. Tuning into his show when he was, cranking it out every day, grinding like an animal. And he's a fellow devil dog, It's just all these connections and correlations, and it just was a natural fit. It made it that much easier for me, having a fellow Marine, leading the charge on it. And then that goes back to just going back to watching RH streams and leading us to where we are today. And it's crazy that people go back even and watch years ago, streams from years ago of RH, and things are still true to this day. Like, you're still learning things, and things are coming to fruition. And that gentleman is like light years ahead of everybody else. I mean, it's definitely 4D chess. I give him props and whatnot. I'm a Hexican by default, Pulsican now, but my bags are packed. I started with step 1, built out my staking ladder, took advantage of the sacrifices, with Pulse Chain and Pulse X, and knowing that we were going to get a copy. I fulfilled, that staking ladder, and I started at the hardest part. I did the 15 years and went down and then went back up, and, lo and behold, the promise, no promise, no expectation, but, things got duplicated on the Pulse Chain side. Right. So very happy, with how things have gone in that realm. And now, just kind of have fun, right? I mean, can we not have fun in crypto? Pack your bags, do it smart, but always keep continuing learning and educating. Like, I've learned so much more about security and just a hardware wallet, because like majority of us initially, we all got screwed. We didn't know any better, right? So we all had MetaMask, we all created our stakes, and it was on a hot wallet, and eventually you start to learn, well, that's not such a smart thing. There's key loggers, and there's, this and that, and one click away from everything just disappearing. So, how do I get that? So then you learn to take your seed phrase from, MetaMask and put that on a hardware wallet, and then erase that MetaMask off your computer, maybe once, 2, 3 times, whatever. Create a new one, right, as a dummy wallet, and then use the hardware wallet to connect, and blah, blah, blah. Just one more layer of security in that regard. So everything's just been an evolution and a stepping stone, and you just learn from each step, and it's just hours, man. I mean, and you guys can all contest to like how much time we've all put into different chats and rooms and spaces and this and that, and just learning and being a sponge. I've literally have been just a fly on the wall, a low profile, and just learning. I had nothing really, to contribute to conversations, because I was learning. I knew my place. I shut up and I listened. And what I've seen and learned is a lot of people in the space don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's for sure. But you do learn and isolate those that do have an idea what the hell they're talking about. So I take that with a grain of salt, and I'm thankful for where I've been led to in this crypto journey thus far. So thus that brings me to where I am now. with and I guess some foresight went into this. My other ex Twitter handle is Vets in Crypto with a K, kilo, number 1, and that's on the original handle that I started with. So after, and obviously we all learned that Twitter was infiltrated by the 3-letter agencies, and like it was a whole thing, right? Dude, I got banned. I mean, you're not cool if you didn't get shut down once, 2, 3 times, so this is like a different iteration, probably my 4th now handle or something. I think I started out as JR USMC back in the day, and then it was Vets in Crypto 1, and now just for branding purposes, the normal name for search optimization and searchability and everything of that nature. So I guess for the last 2 or 3 years, I've known that I've wanted to do something to pay it forward. God bless you guys that do all the technical analysis and deep dive into the white papers and this and that, and we need everybody, Agent J, yeah, the brains, and he, they make us look good. But so I wanted to do something different, and it's evolved. And so where I am now is Vets in Crypto is veterans. We've identified and we've known, it's always just kind of been lightly talked about that, hey, there are a lot of military and first responders in the community collectively. And it's something that nobody really talks about per se, maybe in passing or in a handle or something. But at that time, it was like everybody's name was Hex this, Hex that, blah, 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 like, my God. And so I knew, though, I kind of had a vision of what I wanted to do. And I'm not done, right? This is only the beginning, right? But I didn't want to pigeonhole myself. I'm a Hexkin, yada, yada, whatever. But I didn't want to have a hex thing in my name because for me, who I am, I want it to be open, broad, welcoming, and that is where it's led us now. And it's kind of, you didn't know where everything was going to go as far as with Pulse Chain and everything, but now there is that we want to extend the olive branch. We want to, shake hands and whatnot with people across chains and bring them over and vice versa, learn about everything because it's collective. It's a community in general, in industry. We're all fighting the same battles with that other 3-letter agency collectively. So it's not like we're tribal villages. We shouldn't. There's just too much great technology before us. So needless to say, going back to the Vets in Crypto, I created kind of a stealth launch. I'm in some private groups. I'm in Access the Lives group, Randy Hilarski's No Permissions group. I'm also in Jake Sharp's mastermind group, what have you. And with that, I've learned, and even I'll give a shout out to PTGC, Coach X and those guys, and from Access Alive. If you haven't checked out the Access token, what he's done, his chart just is a great training aid and tool when you get down into it, and how he explains from the inception of his token to where it is now. So I took that, did a stealth launch. It's veterans, but its ticker symbol is VETS, VETS, kind of fitting with the name. I was really kind of surprised that it was still available when I went on there. And I went through GoPulse as well. And I guess I heard, though, that GoPulse, like, in the back end takes like 1% or something, or I don't know the details. I've just heard other people talk somewhat. I guess there's something on the back end that they do, or based on how a volume of a token does. Maybe later we can, if you guys know any more on how that works, what have you. Also in Crypto Sloth's Treehouse. And the reason why, like, Crypto Sloth and I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but Sloth and Access, I was in the Discord with the Antidote. He had Silver the Antidote had his own Discord, and he took under his wing Access and Sloth. And I got in that group at that time, and they kind of had, those two guys had their own channels underneath, and Antidote was always just kind of popping in and out, and gathering information from around the world to share and enlighten everybody with. And so hence naturally, like that kind of dissolved, that group, and Access started his his channel, Access Alive, and I believe I was the first one. I've been with them and been a believer, Team Access, and then Sloth, as well, so they all learn from each other and everything. So I tip my hat to those guys, solid peeps to get information, and it's a blessing to find those that you trust. I mean, we're talking about crypto and trust, right? And that's a hard thing. And that is where we circle back to us, collectively military veterans, first responders. There's kind of a brother sisterhood, a level of trust. If I see somebody else as a fellow Marine in the community, there's a level of expectation. And I may lean on that person, or send them a DM, or feel comfortable, what have you. And I can't say that I've been screwed over by a fellow military person yet. I mean, to speak of, besides maybe you never know who's hiding their face. But and that's a whole nother thing as far as being anonymous and everything these days. Like we've, anyways. So what I've done, I did the stealth launch of the Vets token. The overall idea of that, and eventually as something evolves down the road here, the idea is to, let's say if I team up with an NFT artist, and they create some, let's say, cool military NFTs, and they were willing to put, a small collection up for sale on a, let's say, a Tangang Free Mint Friday or something of that nature, and then the proceeds go to a selected charity. Well, let's say those addresses that purchase that NFT, ideally in my mind, what I would like to happen is for that address to be rewarded the Vets token on the back end. If it could be automated, that would be awesome. If it's manual, it's manual, but that's kind of the initial, like maybe one branch of where I'm going with what I want to do. Just reward people for good behavior, for participating in a charitable thing, and what have you. The whole idea of any of this that may take place is for it to all be decentralized. Like, I don't want shit to do with nothing, no money. I don't want to be the the middleman for nothing, right? Like no middleman dick, right? Like that's what we don't want, any of it. The other part, I did name claim. So going to the Maximus pool party, I did back a while back name claim veterans. So it is live right now. I don't know if you guys can pull it up or show the kids at home on the pool party. You'll see veterans at the bottom of the list there. That pool is live. There's a 1% what is it, contributor, manager, pool manager fee or what have you. The overall goal of that 1% fee is to go to a charity or two. Who knows what that'll accumulate to. But we're talking like Travis Manion, Tunnels for Tower, just one of those type of organizations, just to put something in. Like, we're all in crypto, we're here for the gains and the money and blah blah blah, and like yeah, like take, but can we not do something good in a decentralized manner, a DeFi way, and give something back? That's my kind of goal and purpose of what I would like to see happen. So we're trying it. We got the token. Pool party finally launched. We got that. Maybe with something with Tetra, as that comes around, we can integrate a script to automate some of this stuff. So things are in evolution. It's it's coming. It's progressing. That's kind of the gist of what I'm doing. And so now I created a second handle. So Vets and Crypto is the second handle on X. On my original one, I think I'm pretty sure RH still follows me, on that one, that badge of honor, But having the second handle though allows me to have more freedom, right? Like, we understand the reasons why he does what he does and all that, and I don't want to interfere with that. But if I'm trying to, bridge a gap with others, communities, what have you, like you got to go outside the ecosystem and share content, what have you. A lot of the stuff on the Vets and Crypto side of it is like VA related, Veterans Administration benefits, different charities, things of that nature. But ultimately we're here for each other. The person on your left, the person on your right, people have good days and bad days. Every Monday I've been blessed and honored with Mr. Randy Hilarski of No Permissions. He's our co-host of the Vets and Crypto show, which is on Mondays, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we do a co-host together. Mr. Will Stevenson was so graceful to join us on that one. We had a great time, great conversation. And that's how that show flows, man. It's just very easy, laid back, just shooting the breeze, whatever pops up. The whole the whole vibrator thing. Those guys had no idea. I just it's just some random thing that day I found in my inbox from Malware Bytes talking about don't stick it in where it doesn't belong, and you might get some malware. Yeah. So so that was funny. That was a great clip by Kaiser and everything, and we had some good fun. But anyways, I'll open the floor if you guys got any questions or anything.
No, I mean, Vets, I've got to say, one of the things that really resonated with me that you were speaking about was, in the beginning, you said you started in 2017, and for a good amount of time, the only thing you did was sit there and absorb information like a sponge. And I think that's probably one of the primary reasons why you're now able to go out there and educate, help out with the community. Now you have this podcast and YouTube channel that you do with Mr. Hilarski. And I think the reason why you're having a lot of success in that department is because you spent a considerable amount of time just listening and absorbing information, right? I think that's one of the things that folks in this space, unfortunately, they want the gains that crypto promises you, but they don't want to put in the requisite amount of work in order to maximize those gains, right? There are plenty of times, and I'm sure you've seen this because you're a member of our chat, where some of our members will vent about the things that they see going on in this space, about people who they might know coming back after months and months and months of absence, coming into the chat and say, "Hey guys, been out for a while. What do I do? What is the move?" And then expecting a reasonable answer from somebody, right? But that's not what you did. You sat there, you absorbed the information. And I like that you mentioned that for a long period of time you didn't say anything, right? Because that was me the first year in crypto. I sat in 4 crypto mindset courses, and until the very last one, I just sat and absorbed. And it was only until the Q1 2023 course where I felt comfortable enough, because I had a very good foundation to start helping out my fellow moon gangers, right? And actually this channel and this team that we have formed was an outgrowth from that, right? We all kind of met each other within that group and realized we're already talking about this stuff. Why don't we just turn on the camera and hopefully we can provide some value and some information to others out there who might have been just as lost as we were when we all started, right? And obviously that's also a reflection of Charlie and Miguel, because I always tell people, the uh, a a good mentor, a good teacher does not create independence in their students. Sorry, they don't create dependence in their students. What they do is they create independence, and so that one day the people that you're shepherding, right, the people that you're teaching, can one day go out there and hopefully help others and even maybe teach the way that you taught them. And so that, that is also certainly a reflection of good mentors as well. But a lot of what you've said certainly resonates with me, and I think the reason why you're getting a lot of traction within the Hex community and just the community in general, right, is because you took a considerable amount of time just learning and absorbing, and now when you actually speak, people can know, right? You said there's a lot of people who talk but don't know what they're talking about, and I think the community and people in general can suss those folks out really quickly, and they don't last very long. And the reason why you've had such traction is because when you speak, people listen because they're like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. So just wanted to comment on that, and I love that it seems like you and us here at the roundtable come from a very similar place. So
there's an excellent movie, Jay, that sort of kind of covers this principle, and it's called The 13th Warrior. It features Antonio Banderas as an Arabian guy who is met by a group of Norwegian Vikings as they are, pillaging and plundering and the movie's called The 13th Warrior, for those of you who have not seen it. And it's about how in the very beginning of the movie, he is selected to basically go back to Norway with these 12 Viking guys. And in the whole beginning of the movie, he's just sitting there watching and listening and learning how they like speak to each other. And he's just like not saying anything, just observing and watching the whole time. And he becomes the 13th warrior, like this little Arabian dude, like surrounded by these huge, tall Danish guys. And they go on to go fuck some shit up and everything. But the beginning portion of that movie, The 13th Warrior, I highly recommend that everyone watch it. Not only because it's a good movie, sort of kind of analogous to Beowulf, I believe, but also it's just that lesson in the beginning of just sitting around and lurking and listening and learning and absorbing. So like there's like this montage, how there's always montages in hero movies. There's this montage of him like sitting there listening and like watching people, and they'll say things to him and he won't know what the hell they're saying, and then slowly like he begins to learn and stuff. And it's just a really cool intro. And yeah, and Vets, I like that was your beginning a lot. Back in the the old 4chan days, the people who would sit and read everything were called lurkers. And it's very important to lurk when you're new to a board and you don't know like the rules of the boards and how people discuss things, and like the terms that people use and just the jargon. And really, like, you can take that lesson, you can spread it to anything in life. When you're a new guy at like a new place of employment, when you're a new person in like a group of highly experienced gentlemen, it pays to sit around and absorb and learn the culture. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. So that was my point that I had on that.
Will, one of the things that people that know me know that I have a fondness for Dr. Jordan Peterson. And one of the things that resonated with me when he would speak was, in order to become a master, you must first be comfortable with being the fool, right? Because nobody starts out being a master. But even when you start transitioning from fool to somewhat competent, I think all of us can agree here in saying that the more you dive into this space, the more you realize just how little you know. And so, like Vets was alluding to earlier, that's why it's good to find a group of like-minded people, because you can lean on each other, because you have a finite amount of time and attention, and you can't become good at everything. And so if you're surrounded with a group of people who are hyper competent at a broad spectrum of skills, then you don't have to be good at everything, because you can lean on your brothers and sisters to cover your six when you're not good at something. So
we also
Yeah.
have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people like to use their mouth before using their ears. And especially when you get into a space like this, Jay alluded to it earlier, it's very easy to look around the crypto sphere, crypto Twitter, crypto YouTube, and you can suss out a lot of people that maybe they took 10 minutes of a crypto class and then all of a sudden they're producing content and stuff like that. And it's just like, all right, are you shilling something? Are you truly adding value to folks? Or, you know, what's your play here versus those that, you know, patiently sit back, they wait, they take the time to learn the process, because the process is the most important thing. And you can't rush that. Everybody learns on their own time. What might take me 3 months might take Jay 6 months, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. But there will come a time where something clicks, and then you're like, you know what? I have the knowledge now. I'm going to create a YouTube channel. I'm going to find a co-host, a reputable co-host, and I'm going to start putting out content. I'm going to fill a niche in a certain category, and I'm going to start doing that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think it's absolutely awesome. Will, I want to come back over to you. Did you have a quick comment? Because I had another question I wanted to fire out.
Yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to say is referring, and I just wanted to give you a quick kudos here, Vets, about your decision to create your own brand when you started your Twitter and you started your YouTube, and you formed this identity about which your crypto uh, um, presence revolves, or whatever the word is. And I think that's also very important too. That's one of the things that Richard Hart talks about. And I believe that SJ mentioned it. A wild SJ mentioned it when she was a guest here on our stream as well, where she had originally called herself something about like sci-vive or survivalist SJ or something to that extent. And then like she had mentioned it in one part, like that she changed her name from that because she wanted to create her own brand, so that way she could reach out past the basically like circular ecosystem. So if I call myself like Hexwell or something like that, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. If people want to like call themselves, you know, Hex this, there, that, or the other thing, or Titanx Maximalist, or Bitcoin Gary, or whatever the heck, right? Like if people want to associate with that, then that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. The limiting factor of such naming techniques is by assigning some sort of like something that's very tribalistic, like cryptocurrency, where it has like both hard positive reactions and hard negative reactions. If like there's some people that just hate XRP, and if I call myself, you know, XRP whatever, then I'm printing a label in front of the book that other people are going to like, only they're just going to judge the cover of without like opening the book to see what's inside. So by you aligning yourself with the name Vets in Crypto, you like, there's not a lot of people that hate vets, you know, like everybody loves vets. And that's something that's like some fantastic branding that will open a whole bunch of doors. Like when I posted on my Facebook, hey, I'm going to be on Vets in Crypto's channel, like I got way more response than any time I've ever posted anything having to do with the DGen Roundtable, because I've got a ton of veteran friends from my time in the Marine Corps. Like most of my Facebook friends list is all veterans. And so when they say, oh shit, Will's going to talk to some cool vets guy, hey, I'm a vet, like you know, and then they hop into there, and then that's their soft intro into the cryptosphere world. So I think I just wanted to touch on that and say that's an absolutely fantastic branding decision that you made there. So good on you for that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, and to that point, like God, like there's so many things like I'm leaving out. You know, like yes, I've also took a crypto mindset Charlie and Miguel course as well. You know, you're kind of, I mean, you're kind of foolish if you don't. You know, like I want to hear what other people have to say. Okay, so in my life, in different things that I've done, or if I want to learn a new trade, a skill, a different craft, what have you, I'll go to those people and get that training. Like I like to shoot a lot, what have you. So, and you know, years ago, I was traveling around the country with my hard pack Pelican and going to a bunch of different shooting training courses and everything. Like you had a lot of special forces guys rotating back and everything, and they were starting up their own companies and teaching civilians, how to shoot and move and this and that, CQB, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that was of interest to me. So I went to the profession, the guys with experience, right? Real-time experience. So I went to all these different courses around the country. And then I took a little bit of something from each of them and I made it my own. And I have my own techniques or what have you, how I like to maneuver and handle and whatever. But you carry that same premise with you. I applied that more or less in crypto as well. And knowing that these, are investments also, I found it imperative, and I can't stress it enough, peeps, that in real life meetups are crucial and critical. You need to do that. You need to see the people behind the screen, especially if you're dealing with some anons that are hiding behind an emoji or whatever it is, because things get taken out of context. And if you get to meet somebody, party with them, get to know their personality, then if a text or a message comes across, you know how to interpret it. Or you guys see it in Telegram all the time. I mean, shit can easily, if you don't know who that is, like people get butthurt, they're so quick to judge and bite their head off and this and that. It's like, bro, take it easy, take a step back. I mean, and people that are mods and everything across the board, God bless y'all, because I mean it takes a special person. It's like working with kids and being a school teacher. I mean, it's one of those things, not for everybody, but because you have to kind of thread the needle, read in between the lines. Was this person coming at us like that, or are they trying to subtly shill their stuff as they do and all that? Dude, most of these people have been around the block. We know what's going on. But yeah, so another different aspect I'll point on is I've been self-employed ever since I got out of the Marine Corps. It's just been in my DNA. I don't know. It's just who I am, what I do. Maybe to that and all that life experience of 20 plus years gave me some insight into where I am today with Vets and Crypto from a marketing perspective. A lot of people may not, a lot of people have pigeoned themselves, in a hole of labeling themselves one thing specifically or another, and so be it. You don't know what you don't know in life. My life experiences brought me to where I am now, and why I kind of wanted to leave a broad spectrum. Maybe at a point in time, people were judging me, perhaps. They'd be like, he doesn't jump on one side or take, one side or the other, what have you, when everyone's cutting their throats off on Twitter or X or whatever. And it's always funny, 2 days later, they're on to the next new thing. That's old water, they'll hate somebody's guts. And then after that, it's whatever, green candles solves a lot of stuff too. But no surprise there. Mm-hmm. So the big thing that stressed me out being self-employed and whatnot is I always believed and do believe in crypto and where it's going and what the fruits that it'll bear and everything. The off-ramp, that was my biggest concern, is minimizing my tax liabilities and this and that, and how do I exit out? So thus I wanted to learn, so I started in Binance, Smart Chain, and learned, what a nightmare and disaster that horrible cesspool is. And, so, and I did okay, but what's that saying? You may hit one or two home runs, all it takes is just one. You're always one click away from losing it all and what have you. And I found it a blessing when I found Hex, just to be able to stake it and find a community that was just honest and wanted to help people. And I just laugh at, from those previous times of with all the haters and, oh, it's a scam and this and that. And you realize all those people that didn't have a clue what the hell they were talking about. But yet here we are on the other side, and things are still vibrant. You know, this last bear market, obviously we saw the whole, you know, a lot of things burn and crumble to the ground and implode, and a lot of lessons were learned. Some people even took their own lives, unfortunately. So lessons learned, hopefully. And, you know, like, this is such a solid community in general, and we can all continue to keep moving in that direction and helping each other out for sure.
You know, I have to say that I might be in the minority here, but I do think that because Richard Hart and Hex, and now obviously the rest of the ecosystem, they were and still the black sheep of the space, right? And like you mentioned in the beginning, and all the way up until now, there are a ton of detractors that point at him and say scammer, right? But the reason why I think that's actually good for Hex, it's good for Richard Hart, and we spoke about this a few weeks ago about crypto and how it's adaptable because it goes through all these stress tests. I think it's good because you do need to be stressed, you do need to be challenged in order for you to become adaptable, right? And so even though people have been calling Richard Hart a scammer, calling Hex and his other products nonsense, they're still around. And it's going on 4 years now. Hex released in 2019, I believe, so it's been going on 4 years. Hex still alive and kicking. His products are thriving, right? And so because he's been stress tested, now it's kind of a irrefutable proof in some way that him and his products do belong in this space. Because if he was indeed a scammer, if his products were indeed nonsense, they would have been phased out long ago. And they just haven't. And guess what? When he is finally vindicated in the eyes of the law, because I have no reason to believe that he will not win his lawsuit, because the SEC have absolutely no ground to stand on. I said this multiple times. Their case is built on clay and sand. When he is finally vindicated in the eyes of the law, there will be no more naysayers. There will be nothing else they can throw at him, right? And then that's when he's going to go around, get back on that marketing circuit and say his I told you so's. And just maybe a little bit of that old braggadocious Richard Hart will come out during that time. But yeah, it's important. I think it is good that him and the community have been the black sheep of crypto, because it's a stress test. And the fact that they have survived it, they have become stronger, they have become more adaptable. And because of that, they will thrive into the future. So,
you know, Jay, you had mentioned a bunch of different things there that draw a lot of similarities to the exact niche that Vets here is trying to tap into. You know, me, Will, and Zenith, we are veterans also, and you said a lot of things there that can also be summarized in the veteran mindset. You talk about being stress tested, you know what I'm saying? And in a lot of ways, you know, every single person that goes through the military, they have to be stress tested. They have to go through basic training. They have to go through their advanced individual training and all that different sorts of stuff. And you also mentioned, you know, being the black sheep, somewhat being alone. A lot of veterans in this world, when they get out of the military, they don't have a lot of stuff that they can fall back on. They're used to that command structure. They're used to that certain way of life. A lot of ways, it's like when somebody, you know, comes out of being incarcerated. You know, they live a very structured lifestyle, and all of a sudden they're released into this world. They may have had a little bit of experience preparing for it and stuff like that, but in a lot of ways, you can feel very alone. So there's a lot of similarities in what you just said there that Vets here is trying to tap into in his channel. And I think that's awesome because, you know, veterans to me, you know, especially because I am one and I like to stay in touch with the guys that I deployed with, you know, it's a strong brotherhood that Now, I'm going to say this. There's no way that you can form the sort of brotherhood in crypto that you can form in the military, but there are a lot of similarities. There's definitely a lot of similarities, and you can definitely forge a brotherhood in crypto, especially in, because think about it. I mean, think about where the adoption level is right now. Think about how early we are in the space. You know what I'm saying? So there's still a lot of similarities even in that aspect where you can draw comparisons to.
Yeah.
So
the foxhole in crypto is just a little bit different than out there in the out there on the field.
Yeah, it's you're right. You're talking about a veteran and military members, their physical lives when they're in a combat zone and stuff like that. But when you think of the majority of everybody's main stressor in life, it's finances. Trying to get out of the rat race, trying to set yourself up to where you can create a legacy and pass things on to your family and stuff like that. That's the primary concern for a majority of the country. And you don't have to be in the military to understand that. So, trying to get ahead in this game, trying to help vets, you know what I'm saying, tap into that next phase in life that, hey, look, obviously you're not going to get rich being in the military. That's not going to happen. Right. But, hey, here's a strategy that you can take either while you're still in the military, once you get out of the military, even first responders, police, fire, teachers, all that different sorts of stuff. It's just an awesome niche that vets that you're tapping into, man. And what I want to know is, where do you want your channel to be, a year from now, 5 years from now? What's the long-term goal? What do you want to do? Do you want to put on conferences? Do you just want to keep podcasting? Do you want to create your own community? What do you want to do?
My friend,
and you're muted. Yeah.
Baby steps. I mean, you can have, I don't want to call them delusions of grandeur, but, I guess being this in the crypto world, I guess I would like to see some milestones, right? Some indicators, some ticks, so far the YouTube stuff is going good, right? Like I've got a great co-host with Randy Hilarski, on Mondays, and then I've been, just gaining experience behind the camera and pushing buttons on my own. And Wednesdays, typically, I got this Friday, I'm having on Just Ask Jesse and Rags to Riches this Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So tune in on Vets and Crypto for that discussion. We're just chopping it up. So I'm just gaining experience in that regard. I'll take it as far as it's going to go, baby. I mean, like, let's go. The sky's the limit, ultimately. But I guess my conservative side is like, will this pool party thing yield anything? Like, because the overall goal is to raise money for some charities. If I just want to pay it forward, man, like collectively, if we can just do something good to pay it forward a little bit, like everything is, like I said, designed for us to make money and this and that, hopefully, God willing. But can we do a little something good in between? Besides something that, is a useful utility or what have you. So I just want to pay it forward, and see where that goes. And if we can do that with crypto, great. If not, if we got to do it the old fashioned way, whatever, just trying some new stuff, putting myself out there. And we'll see where it goes. On a different note, a little bit, have you guys heard of like DPen, like where they're using
decentralized
like Hive Maps, what's some others, HNT, Helium, like Helium Mobile, stuff like that. But basically they're utilities or products that reward you for using that product. Let's just say, for example, Helium Mobile is the easiest. They're decentralized phone, they're nationwide now in the USA, but for them, and they teamed up with T-Mobile, so it's a 5G, thing, but you can put up small radios, small cell radios, like on your residence or wherever there's traffic and what have you, and they'll map it out, but it'll be a decentralized network where you're not depending on the cell phone towers, but independent people putting up these small cell radios that provide signal to people. Well, if you put up the radios, you are getting rewarded in this situation mobile tokens. And there's others like it. You can put up a weather station, provide weather data, and or put up a dash cam in your car, and as you're driving around during the day, it maps everything, and then it gets uploaded, because there's a lot of different products that can use real-time data. Because if you look at like Google Maps, that shit's like 3 years old. When you go to Street View, it's old shit, man. And there's products that need real-time data and stuff, and this dash cam will upload it during the daytime, real time, and those companies can buy it from XYZ company, and you get rewarded, like in this case called honey. So there's these different decentralized like utility things that are out there. DPIN, it's pretty cool stuff. Just throwing that out there. It's a whole new world.
Do you happen to be a ham radio guy by any chance?
Yes.
I was gonna say it sounded something familiar there. Yeah, just grabbing mesh networks and whatnot. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So when I got out of the military, I was a Dish Network satellite installer, and then that evolved, and so I learned the craft, right? Was doing it, knocking out like 3 installations a day, driving around all over. And then I became a retailer with Dish Network. So now I was double dipping. I was doing sales and installations. And so just things are evolution. My whole life, I guess, has just been evolution. I joined the military 1 month after high school. I knew I wasn't ready for college. And I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I was ready for. And the military, for me, fit that bill. I honestly, because my dad was in the Army, I went knocking on the Army's door first. Thank God that didn't work out. No offense, but yeah, my brotherhood, found me. The Marine Corps, and it was the best thing, it's like that happened to me in my life at that period of time. Not everybody has a good military experience by any stretch of the imagination. I was in during the quiet Clinton years, but I was, you sign up, you commit. We were out there floating around in the ocean, the tip of the spear at a point in time, just waiting for the balloon to go up. And, that's just what you do. You put yourself out there, and some people, it's your time to do what you've been training to do. And some, it's just, you don't get called up, but you're still out there doing the job out in the fleet and stuff. But to your point about so we do an annual Marine Corps reunion every Labor Day weekend. Whoever is available gets together, usually somewhere in the Midwest, because it's just easier for everybody to meet somewhere there. And I tell you what, and that's why I guess it's so important for these organizations like Wounded Warriors and others. There's nothing like it when you come together. The camaraderie, just sharing, because you've all embraced the suck, you've been through hell, shared similar experiences, and whether those individuals have lost a limb or what have you, there's just something about coming back together with other like-minded people that you've shared that experience with, traumatic and what have you, in those situations. And that's where some of that mental healing and that mental health, because if you're isolated by yourself trying to rehab, and just hating life and stuck in a, whatever the situation is, like, you don't know what you don't know. And especially in something of that, like you lose a limb, you got to relearn to walk, you don't know what tools are available. There's communities, vibrant communities out there. It can save people. It has saved people from the brink, and brought them back. And they're very bright, contributors to society, whether they, have lost a limb or, or what have you. It's just, so to me, seeing that side of things is so impactful for our wounded warriors that come back. And it's not just if you're missing a limb or not. Some of them, there's PTSD, there's many things. And it's not only combat related as well. There's many aspects that people fall into the categories of, but these organizations fit a bill that the government is not filling. And that's where I just want to try to, they need money. Bottom line, to keep doing what they're doing, they need money. Those that aren't good organizations, they get weeded out. You hear about those that, may not be putting, a high percentage per dollar towards the organization, and that, versus majority of the money might be going to somebody's pocket, versus 90 cents out of the dollar is going back into the organization, right? Or something have you. You could do some due diligence and research, and you learn who those good ones are and are not, and go from there. But
I think, that's one of the primary reasons why what you're doing, Vets, especially here in the crypto space, right? Because you're like a niche within a niche. I think that's valuable because, like you mentioned too earlier, it's good for veterans like yourself, whether you've lost a limb or not, to have people that they can rely on, right? I think one of the primary reasons why, vets to come back from war or from service, the reason why they're silent about it, right? And they get trapped in this world of just nihilism, and they can't speak to it with anybody because you can't really empathize or talk about those things with normal civilians the same way that you could probably speak about that kind of stuff with people who have served alongside you, right? Nobody can empathize, nobody can understand that kind of stuff unless they were a brother or a sister who, like Josh was alluding to earlier, was in the trenches in the foxhole with you when you were in a firefight, right? It's just not the same. You know that you could rely on that person because you were able to rely on them when you were being stress tested in that foxhole in that firefight. And so I think that's why it's really valuable, the type of service that you're providing within this niche of a niche, because not everybody has those kinds of resources, right? And so you going out there and providing those resources can be very valuable, not just in a financial sense, but you might help pull somebody out of nihilism. You might be able to pull, somebody out of the brink, right? You might be able to save a life in that sense. So, like, kudos to you, and thank you for doing that, because we certainly, like you said, right, there's a lot of charlatans out there. So we need more. We need better, honest programs that will help the vets that have served this wonderful country.
There are just some things in life that you have to experience to understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will never be able to understand what it's like to give childbirth, right? I mean, I was there when my daughter was born, but I will never be able to understand what that's like, to feel that, to experience that. Some things, there are just certain things in life that we have to experience in order to understand. Combat is definitely one of those things. The fear, the excitement, the adrenaline, the deafening noise, the sensory overload of it all. It's just, you have to be there to be able to experience it. And, to see things that the mind can't comprehend, and to then become accustomed to that sort of life, and then to come back to a world where everything that you just saw was just like a dream. While you're there living it, it's the longest day of your life while you're there living it. But then when you come back home, it feels like it was just 5 minutes. It's like there are certain aspects to that where nobody in the world is going to be able to understand it unless they've lived that experience. And you're absolutely right that, being able to have that that sort of commonality and that brotherhood, and sort of that understanding, being able to extend that hand and to try to help people even after that point in life, I think is absolutely awesome. Real quick, I want to touch the chats, and then Zenith, I'm going to pop over to you real quick. We got some good comments, some good conversations going in here in the chat. We got Tam, we got Hex Glenn, we got Centurion, and we have Luna C Point, all wishing us a good evening. Good evening, folks. We are glad to see you guys here. Moon Pilled Rational Optics, I think he's taking a little dig there at you, Jay, for what you were talking about earlier. He's been out for a while. What should he be getting into? Fast Abdul in the house. Tell me your secrets. Always about finding out secrets.
Hey, Josh,
yeah.
Fast Abdul, if he's still in the chat, we were actually talking about him earlier. He was the 13th warrior. He was the he was the 13th warrior in Will's movie. He was the Arab.
There we go. There we go. And then Hexagon Lost in Asia, taint spitting bars right now. I felt that and lived it. Absolutely, man. Glad you're in here. Glad you can relate to the conversation and all that good stuff. Chat, you guys are on fire. Keep it rolling. Zenith, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I got a question for vets I wanted to throw out there. I got a little bit of an example myself. And the question for you is, in your opinion, what do you think there is some Marine Corps or veteran knowledge that we can share with the space that you think is just kind of missing from the overall thing? In my example here is something that Will has actually sparked up in my brain. I've been chewing over the last few days, is the idea of strategy and tactics. And I even pulled up a good Sun Tzu quote for everybody. It's strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. And this, I've been chewing this over because I was in the gym the other day and I heard a guy talking about trading altcoins on a 2-minute chart. And I'm like, that just feels like tactics without strategy to me. Obviously, if he's successful in this, there's something I don't know here. But at the end of the day, it's the idea of like, you got to have your overarching idea, and then you got to have ways that you're actually going to accomplish that. And what I see in crypto sometimes is that people are either focused too much on the tactics, as in like they're really, really focused on doing things like trading short time frames, focusing on altcoins and like getting in and out. And then on the other flip side of the coin, it's the idea of, I'm just going to be rich someday. And it's like, cool, how are you going to do that? And it's like, we'll just buy Bitcoin. It's like, you have a plan? Are we doing 4-year cycle stuff here? Like, what are we talking about? So even when I was hearing you talk about the plan and the entire vision behind the VETS token, it's like, yes, that is strategy and there is tactics there. The strategy is I want to raise money for first responders. The tactics is I'm going to use these cool tools like the Maximus pool tokens and whatnot, and then also have a sort of fee that's going to be taken out that is the way to accomplish my strategy. So that's what I got for the crypto community. Do you have any veteran knowledge for the crypto community or a lesson?
Oh, man, I had one in my head when you're talking, and you're an intellect guy. Like, I love it because you're the book guy. I don't want to label you that, but I love it and appreciate that aspect, and that's very cool that you guys are actually like have a book club, and I'll learn more about that as I go along with you. Yes, to trading on the 2-minute chart, like, less is more. Yeah, man. And some people are good at it, but I for me, I just know what I am not, and I am not a trader. I will do my due diligence and research. There's all sorts of military acronyms. Like Will can help me here because he's a little more recent, like SMEAC. There's some other good ones like situation, mission, OODA loop, bro. Like, yeah, I forget how that observe, orientate,
decide, and then act.
Act, OODA loop. And
the
OODA loop.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so like going back to the different, shooting courses that I would do, instructors would talk about the OODA loop. And it's that thing in this little off top. But anyway, it's that thing and I'm a big guy about, always telling people, like, I carry a freaking tourniquet with me, like, guy, like, I'm that guy. But living your life in condition yellow, being aware of your surroundings, when you walk into a place, observing where some exits are, maybe sitting with your back against the wall so you're facing the entrance. There's a lot of bad shit now that's going on in this world and in this country, and no one's going to save you. You have to save yourself. Going off on a little tangent, but the threat is real, peeps, and like, our southern border is wide open. We got things coming in that we don't know, we can't vet, and just life in general. So just be aware of your surroundings. So Oodaloo, when something bad happens, people that have not been stressed, and this is where, like, those that have been in the military have had at least some level of stress, and in the different branches you get different levels and extremes of stress, from even just like from different boot camps, even if you haven't gone through combat, just low crawling, going through an obstacle course, and they have like settling tanks going off, simulating explosions and stuff. I remember like crawling under concertina wire, low crawling, and those things are popping off and people are freezing up. It's like you keep moving, like, push forward. You can't stop. And especially if you're all in line, and things are going off and you're crawling in the sand underneath some concertina wire or something, like, you got to keep moving forward. Always move forward. And that's always been my philosophy. No matter what happens in life, you just have to keep moving forward, because nothing good comes out of it when you go backwards. So when you freeze up, bad things happen. If a bad person comes into a situation or a room, you got to fight, or try to escape with your family. Hopefully you observe the exit, get your family out of there, right? But if you are trapped and your back is against the wall, find some other like-minded individuals like yourself and grab whatever furniture, whatever, something hard, blunt objects, and you get enough people to take one bad person down. You can overpower, a person or two. But I digress. I'm going off on a tangent, but just
no, that's some good vet wisdom right there. The
Fight.
idea of like living in condition yellow, of just kind of having that sixth sense, the danger sense of like knowing when things can always go bad, and then just being able to recognize and act quickly. And then also what you're talking about, going through training, and there's even it's not the immersion or I think it's exposure training, like before you go on deployment and stuff. Sometimes they'll show you some jacked up like medical stuff so that the first time you see it is not in real combat. And I guess the same thing could be said in crypto, which is that you should probably be practiced with what you're doing. Know how to know your ins and outs, know your exits for your crypto, which is that, like, don't let the first time you're trying to take money off an exchange be when the massive profits come in and you got to do it quickly or something. It's like, it's exposure, it's the reps, it's practice, and it's repetition. And I think it's just something that military guys are just exposed to overall. I was gonna say the other thing is, it feels like there is, you throw wherever like meetup you go to, you throw a rock at a crypto meetup and it's like, oh, I hit a vet, look at that. And it's like, I think part of the reason for that is that there's like an odd amount of financial literacy and exposure that you get from being in the military, and just like all the different groups that come and talk to you guys before and after everything. And then also we're naturally risk seeking, like, psychological profiles, and that fits right in line with this space.
One thing you had said earlier, Zenith, that I kind of want to double tap on is when you were talking about living in, and also vets, you had mentioned living in threat condition yellow. Like, we have the luxury in this first world country of, having houses with locks and doors and fences with gates on them that we can close, and like car alarms and things of that nature. We live in a pretty peaceful part of the world. But something that folks would do well to remember is that there is no true safety. The only safety that you have in life is the safety that you guarantee for yourself by the actions that you take. And even that, like, you're not totally guaranteed to be safe. Someone can always break into your house. Someone can always like smash into your car. A plane could crash like right above you, or some bad shit could happen. You are never truly safe in this world. So just remember that the only safety that you have is the safety that you guarantee for yourself. And the way that you guarantee that safety for yourself is by living in this threat level yellow. And it's not for everybody. If everyone lives in threat level yellow the whole time, like if you think of the spectrum of colors, like green is totally like no problemos, there's tons of security around, like we're probably pretty good. Red is like, oh shit, I'm in the shit zone. And black is like, it's too late, it's already happening. Yellow and orange and green and like all those gradients in between, living somewhere in the middle of that, understanding that like, hey, bad things could happen, but I'm probably okay where I'm at. But I need to play this like this. I need to war game out these scenarios in my head, so that way, like when it happens, it's not the first time that I'm thinking about it. Just like what you were saying with the medical training, like they'll show you pictures of wounds and things, and like some folks are lucky enough to do live tissue training with with pigs, like after like before they're being sent to the slaughterhouse or whatever, they dope them up. And that's probably not a conversation for YouTube. um but like the point is, you don't want the first time that you're reacting to a bad situation to be when it is an emergency. You want to have these things war gamed. You want to have those nightmares. You want to have these difficult times crawling through the mud in the rain. That's why like we always say, we train in the rain. Is because like life's not always going to happen to you when it's easy. You need to be able to do difficult things when it's a difficult environment. Any fool can work well when the sun's out, but it takes like a true G to work in the rain. So
yeah. How many
I just wanted-
operations did you do at noon in good weather after everyone's been fed and well equipped?
Yeah, exactly. We don't fight. We don't fight when it's nice out.
There it is. That many.
Yep. Think about those assholes like crossing the Delaware on Christmas Day to go surprise the Brits at 5 a.m. Way far down south in not in Trenton, but like that's how our country, like that was a very significant battle. Is we attacked some assholes on Christmas morning in the cold after, I say we, George Washington and his band of compatriots, right? They crossed a fucking cold ass river to go and assault some Brits, like when they were like trying to enjoy their holidays. It's like the world is a cold, cruel, and tough place. So just something to think about for the folks at home.
Yeah, and if you're gonna live in a yellow and a red condition, it's absolutely imperative to make sure you establish a green area, like in your home, where you keep that peace. Because you can live on yellow, you can live on red. All right. You can't live on red for as long as you can live on yellow. All right. You can certainly live on yellow for a prolonged period of time, but you have to have that little personal sanctuary where you can go and just take the book bag off, drop the jacket, and just sit down and relax and decompress. You have to have that. And I implore everyone, exactly what you guys are saying. Always be prepared, but it is also the imperative is on you to establish that personal sanctuary for yourself. Otherwise, it's going to drive you crazy. So you have to be able to de-stress. Jay, what you got?
Oh, I was just going to comment because this is exactly what I was talking about with the gang earlier when I went live in Telegram, right? It's exactly this conversation right here. I know Will said that living in the red or yellow might not be for everybody. I actually disagree. I think everybody, every single person on this planet needs to spend a lot of time living in the red and yellow, because that's the only way you're going to be able to know how to adapt in those situations, because you're not always going to be comfortable, right? Terrible things are coming for all of us, right? It is an inevitability. And if you don't spend any time in the red or yellow, you are not going to have a prayer. You are not going to know how to survive when those times do occur. And so it's very important that you live in the red or yellow, because that's the only way that you're going to know and you're going to be able to adapt to those types of situations, right? Going back to the conversation I was having with the gang earlier, when we were talking about swing trading, I was talking about how there's a lot of people that's still sitting on the sidelines. They like watching the charts. They know how to do X, Y, and Z. They know the technicals, but they never make a move. You're never going to become competent at swing trading if you don't practice the skill, because you're scared you might lose some profits. All right. Somebody, Adrian, I believe it was in the chat, He asked me, why did you take profits at X level? And then but you know that there's still a very high potential of Ethereum going up. And I was like, well, because that was my plan, right? And I'm never going to know if my plan actually worked if I don't execute it when the time comes to execute, right? I gave the example of the red pill space because there's a lot of guys in the group who are into the red pill space. I told them you could read and watch, you could read all of Rollo's fucking books, you could watch all of his 5-hour live streams, but you will never become competent at navigating female nature if you don't go out there and cold approach girls, right? So yes, you have to live in the red and yellow. Otherwise, when the time comes where you're exposed to it by force, God help your soul.
Yeah, be prepared so that when the Bitcoin green candles start melting faces, you don't freak out.
It's a good point, you know, and we can all, you know, take a lesson from this. Absolutely. Like I said this a couple weeks ago, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because this is going to motivate me to sharpen the iron and stay on top of things. You know, I joked around a couple weeks ago on a live stream before I went on vacation, and I said, hey, you know, Nate, I'd probably have to end up paying you for a consultation to remind me how to sell because, like, my strategy, I don't swing trade. You know, the last time I used a crypto exchange was like a year and a half ago. So it's like, you know, I might need to brush up on how to execute quickly in the Pulse chain ecosystem or, you know, how to do all this stuff because honestly, you know, I'll probably be rusty the first time I do it. So, you know, we can all learn from this. Nobody is above this information. Nobody is above these recommendations. And, you know, I'll be one of them that stands on the hill right now and tells you, I'm glad we had this conversation because a lot of things are starting to tick for me. And 100%, I need to make sure, I mean, look at today, especially today, you know what I'm saying? With the price increases that we saw and all that stuff, you absolutely need to have a plan. You need to make sure that it's constantly being practiced. So I appreciate this conversation. Vets, what you got?
Yeah, man. So to that point, and I'm going to relate it to jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. You know, if anyone's gone skydiving or anything, the first time you do it, it's 120 mile per hour terminal velocity, and you're OODA looped. You're just like, just screaming. Hopefully you remember to breathe, and maybe the chute opens, you know, God willing, but when and let's not forget about, you know, getting up to the door and actually jumping out of the good airplane. But to that point though, when you do it, repetition. My point is repetition is key. The more you do something, the better, you know, well, you hope the better you get, but the more used to the insanity slows down. Just like football players, people in combat, what have you. Some people, that is their norm. They feel normal when they're in that high stress environment. Dude, I don't know if you guys know, there are a lot of foreign fighters over in Ukraine, American, Canadian, Australian, whatever the reasons are, but for them, it's just them. It's just whatever. So it works for them. It's their piece. I can't speak to why they're doing it. But anyways, the more you do it, the more times you jump out of an airplane, you build upon these things. So next time you jump out, you're working on hand signals. You're actually looking at your altimeter. The insanity while you're in free fall isn't so crazy because you've done it a few times already, and it slows down. And you remember the procedures that need to take place to deploy your chute. You clear away, everyone clears away, you rip it, pull it, check your full deployment of your canopy, what have you, and you sail down nice and smooth, God willing. So all those things come into play even with crypto. Repetition is key. We all have our pros and cons. You know, some people have issues with taking profits. That can be a hard thing for a lot of people. It sounds easy, but like FOMO is a real thing. You know, it gets the best of everybody. And having a plan is huge. I'm even in B Roots's subscription thing for $10 to pick that guy's brain and ask questions for like 2 hours. If you guys aren't in there, dude, you're silly. You're silly. Whether you like the guy or not, a lot of people get up there in his private subscription and ask a lot of amazing questions. And just, again, being that fly on the wall and listening to people's questions and responses, and just, man, I've learned a lot in additional just from that alone. It's helping me to like take profits, pull that initial principle, let shit ride, stuff like that. Yeah.
Back to your jumping out of the plane analogy, though, when you expose yourself to the discomfort and getting out of your comfort zone and forcing yourself to go through the action of jumping out of the plane, that cross trains. That is absolutely something that you have to do early and often. So that way, when you're faced with new, uncomfortable situations, you're more than willing to do that kind of stuff. Like, this is something that didn't really dawn for the thought really hadn't crossed my mind in a long time until I think it was like a summer or two ago. I was at a lake and we were just like hanging out and jumping off the rope swing. But then like one of the girls we were with, she was absolutely terrified of this rope swing into perfectly good water. Is like a 6-foot drop or something. And she's been watching us do it all day. And then it was kind of one of those moments where I was thinking about it and like in my brain, like, this is no big deal compared to all the stuff that we've ever done. This is no big deal. So why is this person having such an issue getting outside of their comfort zone on this? And I think the answer is that it's someone who had not taken those leaps and done those activities a lot previously. So this is still a very fresh, a very raw and visceral experience. I still remember the first time I did a staking pool for Illuvium, getting into crypto. That was like one of the first like real crypto moves I ever made. And I was like watching videos and like trying to like understand and like read and like work through going through Sushi Swap to get the Ethereum and the ILV and then make the pool and then go to a separate website. And that was one of those moments in crypto and finance where it was like, all right, this is raw and this is still pretty fresh. We need to get used to this space. You need to flex that muscle.
Yeah. No, that's a good point there, Zenith, because I think one of the primary reasons why people don't expose themselves to that repetition, right, is because people are afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of being exposed to the pain. But as you alluded to and Vets spoke about with the jumping out of the plane analogy, the exposure is good because that's how you build up the tolerance. That's how you build up the adaptability. And in small doses, those things are good. A lot of you guys know that my first business, well, still in business, I'm a powerlifting coach. That's the very first business that I started. And whenever I get general clients and they are somewhat hesitant, right? They're a little bit timid. They're a little bit shy because they don't know what they're doing in the gym. They don't really want to expose themselves to that kind of pain. I tell them, look, if I told you, right, that I was going to expose you to something that elevated your heart rate, elevated your blood pressure, was going to put some wear and tear on your joints, and is going to increase the amount of cortisol flowing through your body, you'd look at me and say I was crazy. Of course, you don't want to expose yourself to that. But then I tell them that's exactly everything that happens whenever you exercise. And when you expose yourself acutely to small doses of that stimulus, your body adapts and gets better and better and better and better. What do psychologists do when they're treating somebody with, like, let's say, arachnophobia? They don't start with, okay, I'm going to have you touch a live spider. No, how about we just talk about the spiders? And then maybe after you're comfortable talking about the spiders, maybe we can look at pictures of a spider. And once you're comfortable looking at pictures of the spider, maybe we bring in a very furry toy, fluffy spider, and you don't even have to touch it. I just put it in the opposite end of the room. Maybe you just look at it. I'll sit here with you. Maybe just look at it. And then maybe I walk out of the room and then you can look at it by yourself. And then maybe you become brave enough and you go touch it. And then maybe after all of those steps and you've built up the tolerance, you built up the exposure, then maybe we move on to, okay, let's take you to the zoo and you look at the live spider, and then maybe you actually then you can actually carry it, right? So it's exposure, practice, like rep space repetition over and over and over again. That's how you become adaptable. That's how you get through the space. Because like all of you guys have said in the stream, if the first time you make a move in crypto is at all-time highs, and that's the first time you make a trade, you're probably going to make some mistakes. And those mistakes are probably going to be a lot larger than what they could have been if you practice those small skills gradually very early on.
When you step out of your comfort zone and you become successful at it, and it becomes an interest of yours, and you can really start to attach yourself to that, it can very highly become an addictive habit. And let me tell you, if there's one thing that, so I deployed 2 times. All right. My second deployment, I volunteered because of the addiction that I developed, because combat can be very addicting. It's just, I can't describe it. It is the best, worst experience of your life. That's the only way I know how to describe it. But it can become very addicting. To this day, you see this Daytona 500 hat on. The reason I love NASCAR so much is because of the noise, because of the feeling, and because of the smell. All right. There are 3 audible senses right there that tap into something in my brain that I developed throughout my first experience in Iraq. Smelling it, hearing it, feeling it, doing all that stuff. You know, it tapped into something in my brain, you know, so that's just me personally. But with everybody in general, if you become successful in an area where you had true fear in, and you accomplish that fear, it can very easily turn into an addiction. If you guys don't believe me, do your due diligence, get through this bull market. And when you are successful in this bull market, not only are you going to be loving it because you're making money, but because you understand that you're good at it, and it's going to become an addiction. That's why those people that are successful in this space don't leave the space. That's why they continue to find other avenues to tap into, to stretch themselves. All right. It all comes back to going through the steps that Jay, the steps that Will talked about, right? Becoming proficient in it, developing a passion for it, and then before you know it, you're addicted to the success. You're addicted to how it is, because it's such a just, I don't even know how to describe. I can't even finish that statement, but nonetheless, yeah, that's what I got. Will, what you got?
Dude, I just got like quick little point. This is totally vanity, but like I got some word today that I might be going up on a tower again next week. And I've been pounding the ground since fucking November. I haven't had an opportunity to get up on a tower. And bro, like my fucking my heart started beating. I was like, yes, I gotta get off the ground finally. I'm just doing something simple, just handing some iron out to my buddy who's working for one of our like the competitor companies. But you know, just the opportunity to get off the ground and get up back into the air 2,000 foot again is like, oh man, I totally get what you mean by saying that, like getting addicted to the dangerous and adrenaline rushing things. So that was my little, I was like, yeah, that's totally me, man. Totally fucking me.
For sure. All right, let's touch the chat one more time, and then I'm gonna come right back over to you, Vets. So real quick, let's touch it real quick. All right, Hexagon Lost in Asia. Z, he likes the puss, the cat. All right, some things Marines can't share with the other people. Shout out Hexagon, man. Love the humor. See, that's another thing about the military, is just the sense of humor. And like, I can have conversations with Will, and it's just like him and I just start laughing. Like we can just look at each other in certain points, and we'll just start laughing just because of the humor that we have. So shout out Hexagon. Glad you're here, man. We got Moonpill, Rational Optics. Stress and pressure inoculation is something everyone needs to learn. Inoculation. I said that word correctly, right? All right, sweet. All right. And then last but not least, we got Tam. Great points. Thank you so much for the support, Tam. Glad to see you in here. Absolutely love it. All right, Vets. I didn't mean to cut you off there. What were you going to say, bud?
Ah, shit, man. My pea brain mine I already forgot, but we'll figure something else out. So again, just learning. Like you guys may see in the background, this is the first time I've learned to stream. I'm streaming this to my channel, you know. So usually Randy, we do Mondays and it's on my channel and he's restreaming it on his. And I know I see like the links, you know, in the chat that we see in the background, whatnot, represents other people popping in from the other channels and commenting and whatnot. But anyways, another just learning, you know, learning curve for me. So now I learn kind of like how to navigate to restream it onto my channel, rebroadcast it. You know, just StreamYard in general works really, really good. I've tried some other aftermarket ones. And to that point of, again, just being a fly on the wall, you watch enough of these YouTube streams and the hours, like you pick up things on how people flow and operate and kind of go around the table and this and that. And two, people will talk periodically about what they like, what microphones you guys using, you know, what platforms, you know, like, for example, how'd you guys come to like this format of fitting everybody in and making it, you know, the graphics look this good? Who's in charge of that?
That man right there above you, senor.
Oh, me. No, I mean, everything we have here is a team effort, man. Everything. We also got a great production manager in Cassie that we have. She's, you know, behind the scenes all the time. You know, everything. It's just a big team effort. Yeah. You know, just finding out what makes sense, picking each other's brains. It's really important to have a solid group of folks that you can bounce ideas off of. It'd be great if they were going through the same thing as you. It's also good to have good mentors. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've sent messages to Walrus, to Rags, to Matty Allen, Crypto Coffee, all these guys, you know, just trying to absorb information from the guys that have been there before, you know, and finding a good group of guys that are going through the exact same thing that you are to be able to just bounce ideas off of. You know, I'm very analytical. I'm not creative at all. I'm very right brain. So to come up with something like this, it was just, you know, starting a subscription app and trying to find something that looked cool and then just bouncing ideas off of each other. Same thing with the intro video, all that stuff. So, but yeah.
So you're using like Kava? I've flirted around with Kava and whatnot. Yep. And I'll give a shout out. I'll give a shout out to Candace, Access Alive. You know, she does my thumbnails for me. I mean, God bless her, because I'm like, I suck at them. And it's just a patience thing. I just like something like, oh man, I don't know.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important, you know, because like our thumbnails, you know, I was doing our thumbnails. I'm not that good at thumbnails. I don't really care about thumbnails, but Cassie is phenomenal at thumbnails. Like, and Cassie's thumbnails have gotten significantly better, like so much better. And it's awesome to see, you know, so being able to find people's strengths. And that's what's awesome about our channel is we got our TA guy. I can do a little bit of TA. I don't mind doing TA. Zenith can do TA, but Jay is the TA mastermind. Then we got guys that do fundamental stuff. We got guys that are strictly paying attention to one ecosystem, and we got guys that are in multiple ecosystems. Another good thing about it is we all have different mindsets and different strategies. I'm very conservative as opposed to somebody like Nate. You know, Nate likes to throw scratchers all over the place. Me and Jay were more so conservative. Will is a straight 100% degen. You know, so we, so, you know, but it's important to surround yourself. It's important to surround yourself with like-minded folks, but they don't have to have the same, I guess, I don't want to say beliefs, but you know,
you don't get trapped in the echo chamber.
Right. You don't want to get trapped in an echo chamber. 100%. Absolutely. That's about, and thank you for that, Jay. So it's important to surround you. Yeah. You don't want to get in an echo chamber. So, you know, having a diversified group that's based on respect and commonality and trying to accomplish the same goal, you know, that's what's important. That's what's really important.
Yeah. Earlier I was just kind of flirting around. Hey, do you have, I mean, while we're just kind of just talking freely here, you have the link I sent you about the VA. There was just a pretty recent VA notice that came about that I chatted. If you can put that up just to get the word out. That's all I do, is just try to share information. I'll give the shout out to Ted Nelson, brought it to my attention that this new alert came out, was posted by the VA. And off the top of my head, it was basically they're enhancing, they're going beyond the PACT Act. Basically, anybody now that was exposed to any burn pits, what have you, toxic exposure, can just go and apply for health care, period. You don't, it doesn't have to be benefit related. And it's like, why the hell, like, why did it take so freaking long to get to that point? My God, man, like, it's so simple, it's stupid. Like, we should have been at that point a long time ago. I go to my local VA and I still medical center, and I still see a lot of old guys. I don't see a lot of young guys yet in the daily primary care facility. I'm starting to, so I'm always kind of taking note, like, what kind of age demographics, you know? And they're starting to kind of filter in, but they're you know, we could do better. And I know there's a shit ton out there that need the medical side of it.
I know, unfortunately, I don't have the ability to pop it up right now, but it's definitely something that I can drop in the chat. So yeah, don't worry about it. I'll get that dropped in the chat. Do you have, if you could copy and paste if you have a link, I can share the link in the and feature it on the chat. But yeah, drop that to me and we can do that. All right, let's look, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. I think it's a good time to wrap up. So Vets, real quick, where can people find you? And yeah, where can folks find you? How can they get in touch with you? And are you working on any super cool projects coming up in the near future?
No, I've pretty much spilled the beans in the beginning. Just to recap, there is a via stealth launch. It is out there. The veterans token, aka the ticker symbol, is VETS, like my name. Funny enough, VETS. Go on Deck Screener, type in VETS or veterans, and you will see it. Lo and behold, paired with a lot of different other tokens. Kind of taking a play from Access Alive and Coach X and those guys from PTGC. And I've been seeing it, you know, on Pulse X. We have automated market makers, and those little bastards, those little bots are going back and forth, trading and buying and selling. And collectively, as the market, because if you pair something with Pulse, etc., other things, you know, it just kind of floats up, whether there's buyers or sellers. And that goes back to PTGC. You're seeing that on their chart if you go back and observe that as well. Thank you, Will, for the support on that. That is the best way. Vets in Crypto has all the social links. Everybody should get a link tree, right? I mean, we all share information and tips. And you know, that's what I can share with you guys that I've learned, and it's free. And it works pretty good. So yeah, Vets in Crypto on Twitter, YouTube, everywhere else. Some people are like, hey man, you're everywhere, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm always trying, popping in and out of everywhere. Don't know where the time comes. Yeah, man. So appreciate the opportunity, the time to get the word out, the platform to just preach the word, and just trying to pay it forward, man. I'm not in it for profit. I feel that everything else is going to take care of itself, and you know, I'm good on that. I just, you know, want to do good, and if anybody wants to join and help, you know, please. One way, a small token way, without me asking for money, is a person can go and either A, buy Vets the token, or B, or B, help provide liquidity in one of the many pairs that are out there. You know, I mean, it's as decentralized as that goes, to help get that going. And hopefully we can make something, reward people in the future with the Vets token. So thank you guys for your time and attention today. I appreciate it.
Great stuff, man. Yeah, and if for those that are watching and those that are on replay, if you guys haven't done so already, check out Vet's channel, Vets for Crypto. You guys can find that on YouTube. I am actually going to be coming up on an episode there within when did we say it was? Do we say it was the 6th?
The 6th.
Yeah.
We'll nail down the time.
Yeah.
2 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
We'll March 6th, Wednesday, March 6th.
Boom. So
and we'll see if pair us up with one other guest or not, whatever.
Sure. Yep. Cool deal. So check them out there. If you guys are in the Telegram chat, we're going to drop that link, but make sure if you guys haven't subbed to him already, make sure you guys do so. Will, I'm going to come to you here in a second, but real quick, need to shout out Brother64, $10 Canadian for the super chat, 10 out of 10 stream tonight. Thanks, Vets and DGens. Absolutely love the support, Sam. Can't wait to have you back on for a Whiskey Wednesday in April. And I'm in the process right now of trying to I'll DM you. So, but shout out Brother64. Love the support and can't wait to have you back on. All right, Will, what you got coming up? Where can folks find you? And what are you excited about?
Oh man, folks can find me at linktree/Will Stevenson. That is the easiest way for people to figure out what I am doing, where I am. All my socials are in there. All the work that I've done is in there. Whether it's the book that I wrote, whether it's the archive that I made, whether it's this podcast, the podcast I do with my brother, yada, 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 all that stuff. Hell, you can even buy these custom-made Bad Idea t-shirts there. I get absolutely nothing from those sales, just so you guys know. That is 100% custom tee. All that I did was copy a JPEG, and that's where I get my t-shirts made. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me, mostly on Telegram. Telegram's the place to get to me. If you guys want to reach out, just do so on Telegram, either through the DGen Roundtable channel, which you guys can find by clicking on that QR code that's down in that direction. There we go. QR code for the DGen Roundtable Telegram. That will get you guys into our Telegram. Right now it's free. It's not always going to be free. You could also type in bit.ly/DGen_roundtable, or excuse me, degenerate_roundtable. And that will get you into the Telegram as well. But yeah, that's the place that you guys can find me. We're like Zenith had mentioned earlier, we got book club coming up this week on Friday. It's going to be $100 million offers. I'll be hosting it. Other than that, I don't think that there's anything crazy going on. I'm not going to be. I will not be at the Pulse Chain Tour in Vegas. I know that there's been some rumors and some confusion. I thought that I was going to be able to go, and then I couldn't go, and then I thought I could go again, and then I was like, shit, I can't go. So there's just all this stuff. The end result is I'm not going to be going to Vegas. So much love to all of you guys who are going to be there. Like, big shout out to all y'all for heading down there and doing great things, especially you, Zenith. You're going to be representing the DGen Roundtable over there. So I look forward to hearing your tales of victory and accomplishment and thankfulness and all the great stuff that goes on over in Vegas. But that's all that I got. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, bitch, moan, complain, do all the great things, and DCA everything into treasuries and bonds, because those are the fastest moving assets, and none of this is financial advice.
I sold 100% of my stock into stables. I even put that in my headline right there.
There you go.
That was the move I did today. 100% into stables. Hey, cash me outside. That's all I'm saying. Zenith.
I got one more. I was just gonna play off of that and just say that I actually sold all of my crypto and all of my stocks and all of my. I even sold my house and I bought gravel. The whole thing. I just invested in gravel because that's where the future is, baby. The future's in gravel. So you heard it from me first.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays
strategy.
off. All right, Z, you're taking the hosting cape off Friday. How excited are you about that? Where can folks find you? What you got coming up?
I'm actually very excited to take the hosting cape off for Friday. Let Will run book club. I'm curious to see what his approach is going to be for it. I usually just pick like 3 or 4 major topics that I asked the panel questions about, and we just run with that. So looking forward to see what he comes up with. But yeah, I am going to Vegas. Crazy to think we're literally 7 days away from the first Vegas event. This is going to be a blast. I look forward to seeing each and everybody out there. And my goal for going to Vegas is I want to try to record as much content on the go as I possibly can. We've built the mobile media kit, so we're going to be giving it a test drive here soon and hitting the ground running in Vegas. So looking forward to that very much. If you want to sit down and do an interview or something, please hit me up. You can catch all my links at Linktree /ZenithDI. That is my personal Instagram page, and it also redirects you to the crypto meme page I run, which is Hexco Space Force, which is also a YouTube channel. So you can check it out over there. It's ironic that you guys were talking earlier about how don't make your name references to other things and other people, and I literally made it a double meme of Hexagon Space Force. I think I originally came up with that from a South Park episode where they go to the Mexican NASA instead. That's what I got going on. $100 million offers, and then the book club. My next book club, which will be Friday, I'm actually going to be in Vegas for, so we're going to have to reschedule that one, or I might have to ask Will to double tap that hosting seat. That's what I got. Jay, where can the people find you, brother?
Yeah, first and foremost, big thank you to Vets for joining us this evening. I know you said that it really isn't about making money for you. It's about paying it forward. Here's the thing, my friend. What I've realized, and we've only been in this space for a short amount of time, is that when you provide value to people, they tend to start offering to pay you out of their own volition. And so I think you keep doing what you're doing, and it's inevitable that you might be able to create a business out of this too, my friend. So I'm certain that you will. So once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you to everybody in the chat who joined us this evening, and everybody who will be joining us in the replay. We know that time is your most valuable asset, so we do appreciate that you spend some of that time here with us on this wonderful Wednesday evening. As far as what we got coming up next, I will be on Friday as well. I will be on Crypto Boogie's channel once again, doing the same damn old thing, doing some TA, doing a market update for you guys. Right before hopping on to the book club episode with Z and Will and the rest of the gang. So look forward to that. As always, you can find me on X at _P90Hex and on Instagram at agent_J Schroth. Josh, take us out, brother.
Yeah, Vets, thank you so much for hopping on, man. Excited about the niche that you're filling. Excited to see you grow. It's going to be awesome to see if there's anything that we can do here to help you, either currently, down the road, anything like that. Feel free to reach out. Definitely want to collab more. So it's absolutely awesome, and I personally appreciate it. So thank you so much for tapping into that. And yeah, man, thank you. Just thank you for having a solid outlet for Vets to learn a little bit more and to have their own little small space within the community as well. So thank you so much. But yeah,
we deserve it. We need that. We need this for 100%.
For sure. Yep. All right, guys. My name is Josh. You guys can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at Chocolate Taints. That's where I am. Let's see. What do I have coming up? I'm going to be on Pulse Ray Vision Sunday. I will be doing an interview there. On Sunday. And then Wednesday, I'll be on Vets and Crypto. We will drop the link in the Telegram for when that happens, so you guys can catch that. Excited about that. And book club Friday, that's going to be awesome. And then Brendan is going to be hosting on Sunday, talking about the very the idea of the perfect storm theory. We're going to rehash that, talk about that a little bit more. It seems very fitting, giving the very bullish sentiment that we're seeing on Bitcoin right now, pre-halvening. So that's going to be an awesome episode to catch. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel for that. If you guys are live viewing us right now, thank you so much. If you guys are catching us on the replay, hit that subscribe button. Catch us next time. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. But as Jay always says, we appreciate everything, all the support that we get from you guys. You guys make the show what it is. Vets, thank you again. Panel, you guys did phenomenal tonight. As always, you guys brought the house. You guys make the show what it is. So it's really easy hosting when you have such a fire panel that brings such good content. So everybody, we hope you guys have a good night. We will see you back here at our next appointed time. If you guys, we may have another Telegram call. Jay may decide to have another Telegram call tomorrow. So make sure you guys get in the Telegram and subscribe to the channel. That way, if Jay wants to do another pop-up emergency stream, you're there to see it. So everyone make sure you're DJing responsibly.